Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I am Dr. Faiza Shaheen. This is our course Educational Psychology EDUC 3112. We are discussing our chapter number 6, which is Measurement and Evaluation in Educational Psychology, and it is going to be our 12th lecture. According to the agenda of this lecture, we will see the concept of measurement and evaluation in educational psychology, under which we will see that what is the characteristics of a good test. Those are many, and 6.4 is that validity, that a test measures what it is supposed to measure. If it measures what it is supposed to measure, that is valid. And item analysis is a check which includes mean, standard deviation, item discrimination, and item difficulty. These assess the level of the item included in the test. Starting from the concept validity. The concept of validity was formulated by Kelly 1927, who stated that a test is valid if it measures what it claims to measure. So if a test is developed to measure a certain skill or ability or knowledge, that should measure that particular skill, ability or knowledge. That should not measure other skills. Then that will be a valid test. For example, a test of intelligence should measure intelligence and not something else, such as memory. So if we say that a test is valid and was developed to measure the intelligence, so the items should be measuring only the intelligence. Items related to the memory should not be included in that test. Types of validity. A distinction can be made between internal and external validity. These types of validity are relevant to evaluating the validity of a research, study or procedure. So broadly, internal and external validity are there. These are the types of validity. And why do we measure this validity? What is this check about? It is basically about evaluating any research, study or the procedure undertaken, and here we are concerned with the characteristic of validity of a test. Under internal validity, we will see that what it is and what are the cautions we need to make while evaluating it. Internal validity refers to whether the effects observed in a study are due to the manipulation of the independent variable and are not by some other factor. In other words, there is a causal relationship between the independent and dependent variable. So whenever we are studying variables, there is one independent and second is dependent, and we make some manipulation in the independent variable. So all the cause that is done by independent variable, there is no any other factor which is causing the manipulation and affecting the dependent variable. Simple is that only cause and effect relationship can be studied when only independent and dependent variables are there. How it can be happened? When we control the extraneous variables. Internal validity can be improved by controlling extraneous variables using standardized instructions, counterbalancing and eliminating demand characteristics and investigator effects. So this is another question, that how can we control the extraneous variables? But whenever we are concerned with the study of independent and dependent variable, we must control the effect of extra and other variables which can or may influence the dependent variable. That criteria, that method will maybe of instructions, counterbalancing or investigator effects. Next is external validity. External validity refers to the extent to which the results of a study can be generalized to other settings, whether that is ecological setting and other population, other people, which is population validity, and over time, which is historical validity. So external validity can be improved by setting experiments in a more natural setting and using random sampling to select the participants. So basically it is about the extent to which results of a study can be generalized to other settings, that is external validity. Now we will see some methods of assessing the validity of a test. There are two main categories of validity used to assess the validity of the test. Number one is content validity and number two is criterion validity. Under content validity, we will see the face validity and construct validity, and criterion validity has two further types, which is concurrent validity and predictive validity. Number first is face validity. This is the least sophisticated measure of validity, and basically the new researchers, new respondents are asked to fulfill this requirement. Face validity is simply whether the test appears to measure what it claims to test, wherein the purpose is clear. Even to naive respondents are said to have high face validity. On a face level, how does a test appears? देखने में कैसा है वो टेस्ट, दैट इज इट्स फेस वैलिडिटी. जैसे क्वेश्चन पेपर आपके हाथ में दिया जाता है तो देखते ही आपके जहन में क्या आता है, वो आपकी फेस, उस टेस्ट की फेस वैलिडिटी है. अगर 3 या 4 शीट्स को क्वेश्चन पेपर की शक्ल में अटैच कर करके आपके हाथ में थमा दिया जाए तो आपके जहन में क्या आता है कि इट विल बी ए लेंथी टेस्ट. तो आप फौरन उसके स्कोर देखते हैं कि टोटल मार्क्स कितने हैं. अगर मार्क्स उतने ही हैं, जैसे मिड टेस्ट है 20 मार्क्स का है, लेकिन उसके साथ हम 4-5 शीट्स अटैच करके लंबे लंबे क्वेश्चंस ऐड कर के दे दें आपको, तो वो उसकी फेस वैलिडिटी से रिलेटेड ये कंडीशन होगी. फेस वैलिडिटी क्या होती है? डायरेक्ट मेजरमेंट of face validity is obtained by asking people to rate the validity of a test as it appears to them. If you want some experts to evaluate the face validity of a test, you simply ask them that how does it appear to them. This rater would use a Likert type scale to assess face validity. फॉर एग्ज़ाम्पल ये 5 तरह का लिकर्ट टाइप स्केल उनको दिया जाए शायद, जिस पे वो आपको बता दें कि वो टेस्ट वैलिड है, फेस वैलिडिटी उसकी है या नहीं है. द टेस्ट इज एक्सट्रीमली सूटेबल फॉर अ गिवन पर्पस. एक्सट्रीमली सूटेबल, द टेस्ट इज वेरी सूटेबल फॉर दैट पर्पस. द टेस्ट इज एडिक्वेट, सिंपली एडिक्वेट. द टेस्ट इज इनएडिक्वेट. The test is irrelevant and therefore unsuitable. So this 5-point Likert type scale can be given to the evaluator to assess the face validity of a test. Simply उसको देखते ही वो evaluator क्या कहता है कि ये extremely suitable है, very suitable है, adequate है, inadequate है, या irrelevant या unsuitable है. इस पे वो रेटिंग कर देते हो जिससे उसकी face validity मेजर हो सकती है. Number second is construct validity. Construct validity was invented by Kornbluh and Mehl, 1955. This type of validity refers to the extent to which a test captures a specific theoretical construct or trait, and it overlaps with some of the other aspects of validity. So दो बातें उसने इकट्ठी यहाँ पे बता दी. एक तो ये कि थ्योरेटिकली स्पेसिफिक कंस्ट्रक्ट को ही मेजर करता हो एक टेस्ट, तो वो कंस्ट्रक्ट वैलिडिटी रखता है. और दिस टाइप ऑफ वैलिडिटी इज समहाउ समवेयर ओवरलैप विद अदर टाइप्स ऑफ और एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ वैलिडिटी. सिंपली construct validity does not concern the simple factual question of whether a test measures an attribute. Instead, it is about the complex question of whether test score interpretations are consistent with the थ्योरेटिकल एंड ऑब्जर्वेशनल टर्म्स। सिंपली ये बताता है कि जिस कंस्ट्रक्ट को मैयर करने के लिए ये टेस्ट बना है, उस एट्रीब्यूट, उस कंस्ट्रक्ट को ही मैयर कर रहा है और उसकी इंटरप्रिटेशंस में कंसिस्टेंसी है या नहीं है, ये मैयर करता है कंस्ट्रक्ट। कंस्ट्रक्ट वैलिडिटी के बारे में वो फर्दर कहते हैं, टू टेस्ट फॉर कंस्ट्रक्ट वैलिडिटी इट मस्ट बी डेमोन्स्ट्रेटेड दैट द फिनोमिना बीइंग मैयर्ड actually exist. So the construct validity of a test of intelligence, for example, is dependent on a model or theory of intelligence. Construct validity entails demonstrating the power of such a construct to explain a network of research findings and to predict future relationships. So किसी भी कंस्ट्रक्ट की बुनियाद उस पे की जाने वाली पुरानी रिसर्चेस और थेरी पे होती है। तो अगर एक इंटेलिजेंस की थेरी से लिया गया कंस्ट्रक्ट होगा तो हम ये देखेंगे कि क्या वो कंस्ट्रक्ट इसकी बताई हुई थेरीज को सपोर्ट कर रहा है या नहीं। अगर तो वो कर रहा है तो फिर ठीक है, वो कंस्ट्रक्ट वैलिडिटी वो टेस्ट रखता है, यानी उसकी आइटम्स ऐसी हैं जो उसकी थेरी की बुनियाद पे डेवलप की गई हैं। ठीक है। नेक्स्ट इज कंकरेंट वैलिडिटी। कंकरेंट वैलिडिटी, दिस इज द डिग्री टू विच a test corresponds to an external criteria that is known concurrently occurring at the same time. If the new test is validated by a comparison with the currently existing criteria, we have concurrent validity. And very often a new IQ or personality test might be compared with an older but similar test known to have good validity already. So एक कंस्ट्रक्ट या डिग्री सच एज IQ और पर्सनैलिटी टेस्ट एक तो मैयर कर ही रहा है ना, इसी की बुनियाद इसी तरह का एक दूसरा नया टेस्ट भी बनाया जाए जो कि सेम इन्हीं चीज़ों को मैयर कर रहा हो, तो फिर हम उन दोनों के स्कोर को कोरिलेट करते हैं तो हमें कंकरेंट वैलिडिटी हासिल होती है। नेक्स्ट टाइप इज प्रिडिक्टिव वैलिडिटी। प्रिडिक्शन मीन्स के वी कैन predict or foresee the future course of action based on this validity. This is the degree to which a test accurately predicts a criteria that will occur in the future. Simple example is here. A prediction may be made on the basis of a new intelligence test that high scorers at age 12 will be more likely to obtain university degrees several years later. If the prediction is borne out, then the test had predicted validity. So आज के टेस्ट की स्कोर की बुनियाद पे फ्यूचर कोर्स ऑफ एक्शन को अगर प्रिडिक्ट किया जाए और उसको मैच किया जाए और वो ठीक आए तो दैट इज प्रिडिक्टिव वैलिडिटी। इस वैलिडिटी की बुनियाद पे हम फ्यूचर के बारे में प्रिडिक्शंस दे सकते हैं स्कोर की बुनियाद पे। द लास्ट चेक विच इज आइटम एनालिसिस। ऑन दिस बेसिस we can evaluate the utility of any particular item available in the test. Item analysis is a process which examines student responses to individual test items in order to assess the quality of those items and of the test as a whole. So one by one we see that whether each item is accurately measuring the same thing which it is developed for, and as a whole what are the contribution of all the items in assessing and measuring the same construct or concept. Item analysis is especially valuable in improving items which will be used again in later tests, but it can also be used to eliminate ambiguous or misleading items in a single test administration. So on the basis of the results of item analysis, we can improve our test items as well as we can eliminate those items which are ambiguous or misleading in the test. It is useful for the researcher or the test developer to evaluate each item separately, as well as its contribution, to measure its contribution to the whole test, and later on the basis of the results of item analysis, which can be measured by standard deviation, mean, median, and item difficulty and item discrimination, those results can provide useful information that which item is ambiguous, which is weak, which one is misleading, so that can be eliminated or can be improved. In addition, item analysis is valuable for increasing instructors' skill in the test construction, because it is helpful to know the status of each item side by side and identifying specific areas of course content which need greater emphasis or clarity. So it gives some basic information to the developer about identifying the specific areas of course content which needs emphasis or clarity. We will see item statistics, which include the following concepts. Item statistics are used to assess the performance of individual test items on the assumption that the overall quality of a test derives from the quality of its items. It is understood that if each item is contributing and of good value and validity and has good statistical characteristics, then the whole test has quality. So not only on the level of each statement, as well as the whole test can be assessed with item statistics. A simple check is item number. This is the question number taken from the student answer sheet. Up to 150 items can be scored on the standard answer sheet. It needs reference that from which we have taken this criteria. Mean and standard deviation. What is the concept of mean? MEEN, it is capital, which is average score of the student on a single item. Student responses to an item, and how it is computed? It is computed by adding up the number of points earned by all students on the item and then dividing the total by the number of the students appeared in the test. सिंपल एवरेज कैसे निकालते हैं? करेक्ट आंसर्स जो भी उनके आंसर्स हैं उनकी टोटल स्कोर डिवाइडेड बाय द स्टूडेंट्स हु अटेम्प्टेड दैट क्वेश्चन, who appeared in the test, that is the mean score. Number second is standard deviation. आपका स्कोर मीन से कितना परे है, उसका स्प्रेड आउट कितना है, that is the standard deviation. Standard deviation is a measure of the dispersion of the student scores on that item. यानी हर आइटम में ये देखना है कि what is the spread or dispersion of the student score. It indicates how spread out the responses were. So the item standard deviation is most meaningful when comparing items which have more than one correct alternative and when scale scoring is used. And for this reason it is not typically used to evaluate classroom test, because there may likely be one correct answer of all the items. Item difficulty. This is another check of item analysis. So it simply tells that what is the number or percentage of the students who answered an item correctly. It is item difficulty. For items with one correct alternative worth a single point, the item difficulty is simply the percentage of the students who answer an item correctly. So in this case it is also equal to the item mean. The item difficulty index ranges from 0 to 100, the higher the value, the easier the question is. Next is item discrimination. How likely low achiever and high achievers are discriminant with each other. Item discrimination refers to the ability of an item to differentiate among students on the basis of how well they know the material being tested. Various hand calculation procedures have traditionally been used to compare item responses to total test score using high and low scoring groups of students. But nowadays we use the computerized analysis that provide more accurate assessment of the discrimination power of items because they take into account responses of all the students rather than just high and low scoring groups. So we can see that all the students who were appeared in the test, what is their response and what is the difference of their responses with one another, rather than only comparing the high and low scoring groups of students. So whenever we are applying item analysis results and interpreting those, we need some care. A caution in interpreting item analysis results is there. Item analysis data are not synonymous with item validity. Both the concepts are different. Validity is something else, whereas item analysis is something else. An external criteria is required to accurately judge the validity of the test. So the discrimination index is not always a measure of item quality. There is a variety of reasons an item may have low discriminating power. Only two reasons are put here. Extremely difficult or easy items will have low ability to discriminate, but such items are often needed to adequately sample course content and objectives. So these are the issues attached with the criteria of item analysis. अगर एक बहुत आसान आइटम है, बहुत आसान सवाल पेपर में आ गया है और एक या बहुत मुश्किल है, तो उस पर रिस्पॉन्स मोरलेस सबका एक जैसा होगा, तो उससे आइटम डिस्क्रिमिनेट नहीं, हम उससे लोगों के हाई और लो एबिलिटी में इतना फ़र्क नहीं कर सकते. दूसरा केस क्या है कि आइटम में शो लो डिस्क्रिमिनेशन if the test measures many different content areas and cognitive skills. So अगर बहुत सारे कॉन्सेप्ट्स को इकट्ठे मेजर किया जा रहा है तो फिर भी लो डिस्क्रिमिनेशन हमें ट्रू रिजल्ट्स नहीं दे रही. Another caution while interpreting the item analysis result is that item analysis data are tentative, which is estimated. Such data are influenced by the type and number of students being tested, instructional procedures employed, and the chance errors. So these are not only due to the results given, there are so many other influencing factors such as number of the students being tested. आपने देखा होगा कि स्टूडेंट के नंबर्स बढ़ाने से रिलायबिलिटी खुद ही स्ट्रांग हो जाती है. अगर आप अपने पार्टिसिपेंट्स की तादाद बढ़ा दें तो टेस्ट को रिलायबिलिटी ज़्यादा आ जाती है. इसी तरह आइटम एनालिसिस में वो कहता है कि ज़रूरी नहीं है कि ये एक्यूरेट रिजल्ट ही दे रहा है, ये एस्टिमेटेड रिजल्ट्स देता है. ऐसे चेक्स बताता है जो एस्टिमेटेड हमें डिसीजंस लेने में हेल्पफुल होते हैं, बिकॉज इट इज़ इन्फ्लुएंस्ड बाय नंबर ऑफ द पार्टिसिपेंट्स. इंस्ट्रक्शनल प्रोसीजर्स एम्प्लॉयड, अगर हमने ज़्यादा अच्छे तरीके से इंस्ट्रक्शनल प्रोसीजर्स को एम्प्लॉय कर दिया तो शायद रिजल्ट्स डिफरेंट आ जाएं. एंड द चांसेस ऑफ एरर्स and assumptions of these item analysis procedures are different with one another. So these need to be taken care while administering the item analysis results. So in this lecture we have basically seen the concept of measurement and evaluation in psychology, and what are the concept of validity and its types, and then at the last we have seen the item analysis procedures. So this was the end of our unit number 6. I hope you have understood the concepts taught in this lecture. Good luck for the future learning. Thank you.